You didn't click this video to revisit nostalgia. You clicked because some part of you still believes in what Star Wars could be. Knights of the Old Republic isn't just a fan favourite, it's a blueprint. And this secretive remake, it could be the launch of a new canon. One darker, richer, more poetic and Shakespearean than ever. It should be everything the galaxy far, far away has been missing. This isn't just about a game, it should be the beginning of a new era. One bold enough to rewrite the future and brave enough to challenge the past. A like-for-like remake would be playing it safe and playing it wrong. Here's the hot take. A faithful remake would actually be a disservice to the overall brand. If this remake is just a shinier version of the 2003 game, then I think we've already failed before we've even drawn a lightsaber. The Old Republic was never just a backdrop. It's a sandbox, it always was. Thousands of years before the Skywalkers, where morality wasn't so clean cut as it is in the movies. It deserves more than a paint job. It deserves to be reborn, not just remade, but reimagined for a generation that craves nuance. Look, I just want to lay it out that I'm a huge fan of the original. Not so long ago I would have been dying on that hill of, don't change a thing, but I'm so disconnected with Lucasfilm's vision, I'm trying to think of a way to unite us all once more, I guess. And I think KOTOR was a product of its time. And with time, we have evolved. And so should the story. With such a fractured fanbase, I'm not sure the vast majority of the audience would be entirely satisfied with deja vu. We want depth, surprise, and consequences. We want to see the mythology evolve. While staying true to George Lucas's vision, of course. So welcome to Cult Rushmore. And I just wanted to pause for a moment just to thank everyone really who's been tuning in so far and dropping a like here and there. I know I've still got a lot to learn and develop here on YouTube. I'm not the most confident talker in the world, so all the small engagement that I have had, it does mean a lot. So with that being said, please consider smashing the like button. And if you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. Okay, with that cheap plug out the way, let's lock in and let me tell you about my real dream for KOTOR. So here's the real dream. This isn't just a remake. I want it to be the start of a new canon timeline. From the Mandalorian Wars and Revan's fall, all the way to Darth Bane and the creation of the Rule of Two. You see, this era is ripe for an interconnected saga that spans games, animated series, and then eventually, when the stage is set, live action stories. Imagine it, we witness the Jedi Order at its height, and at its hubris. We see ancient Siths and their empires rise and implode under their own power. We watch ideals fracture, alliances burn, and the Force itself evolve. And it can all start here, with a remake that dares to set the tone morally complex, narratively bold, and emotionally grounded. Keep the morality system abso-fruitly, but make it smarter, make it matter. Your path, be it light or dark, should unlock new abilities, rewrite relationships, and maybe even rewrite history. Now, if you've not seen any of my other videos, I enjoy the idea of what if. So I'm going to spit some story elements at you now, and some gameplay ideas. Things I want to see in the remake. So what if you play as two characters? One is your creative protagonist, fully customizable, with the option to choose from several humanoid alien species for the first time in a major Star Wars RPG. The second, Revan himself. Your custom character, not so different from the original, awakens with amnesia. You have no memory of who you are or why you're being trained by the Jedi. As you navigate the present-day galaxy, you begin uncovering not only your identity, but the buried truths about the Mandalorian Wars and a mysterious resurgence of darkness. There's tension brewing. The Jedi and the Mandalorians are at war, but what if the Sith, thought long banished, are pulling the strings from behind the scenes? Could they be manipulating Mandalore the Ultimate? Could the war itself be a carefully orchestrated deception to weaken the Republic from within? And here's where it gets cinematic. As your character discovers ancient relics or pieces of Revan's history, we play as Revan in flashbacks. On the front lines of the Mandalorian Wars, making impossible choices, walking the line between saviour and monster. The past and present converge, slowly revealing how the galaxy arrived at its tipping point. But these Revan flashbacks, they're not just cutscenes, they're battles where story and gameplay collide. Gritty, high-stakes combat, dialogue choices that show the slippery slope of power, squad-based missions that shape Revan's legend in real time, including choices the player must live with in the present. Now imagine companion dynamics evolving over both timelines. Bastila torn between admiration and fear of what Revan was. Canderous Ordo, once a Mandalorian warrior following Revan in war, now older and questioning everything. And then there's HK-47, a walking contradiction of comedy and carnage, offering brutal honesty across both timelines. Their relationships change depending on your influence, not just in dialogue trees, but in actual mission design, trust mechanics, even potential betrayals. And the Jedi Council? Let's stop treating them as the wise elders. What if they're fractured as well? Paranoid, capable of just as much fear as the Sith? Your interactions with them, both as the present-day character and in Revan's memories, could reveal how the institutional fear shaped every terrible decision, from exile to war to manipulation. Now let's talk about some gameplay mechanics. Let's talk about something which I feel has been completely overlooked in modern Star Wars games. I enjoyed Survivor, but I think there's so much more that can be done with lightsaber duels in general. Not just as flashy animations or quick time events, but as complete combat systems. You see, what if duels were separated from regular combat entirely? A fully unique gameplay mechanic, more tactical, more tense. I'm thinking something like For Honor, but refined and evolved for the next generation. A clash of stances, footwork, timing, precision, and mind games. Every lightsaber battle must feel earned, like a cinematic duel of philosophy as much as physicality, where skill, not just stats, defines victory. Look, I know, believe me, I know we've all been burned. We've seen how fragile magic can be when stories are built backwards from merchandise or nostalgia. But what if we built forward? What if Revan was just the beginning of a saga that spans centuries, not ending in a neat conclusion, but in a philosophical reckoning between power and peace? The end of this timeline, the rise of Darth Bane, the collapse of the Sith, the establishment of the rule of two, that's your final arc. It's Shakespearean, it's inevitable, it's tragic, but it gives Star Wars weight again. You see, I would argue that the success of the MCU's Infinity Saga was partly because core fans knew that it was building towards the famous snap. As soon as we see Thanos at the end of the first Avengers, you had faith and anticipation for where they were taking the story. And I think playing the long game towards Bane in this sense could work just as well across multiple media assets. We don't just want a game, or I don't anyway. We want a new era, and maybe, just maybe, this time, they can do it right. Call me a fool in the comments all you want, no doubt some of you will, but I'd rather be a fool with hope than a cynic with nothing left to believe in. Because in the end, this galaxy will only change if we dare to choose something different. This has been Cult Rushmore, and if you're still watching, you're one of us, the ones who remember what Star Wars can be, and still want it to become. So have at it in the comments and drop your wildest dreams for KOTOR. What characters should return? What new stories could emerge? What tweaks would you make to the story to really sell it to the modern audience? And share this video with someone who's still holding out hope for something greater. Because maybe the next generation of Star Wars won't come from a movie, but from a choice made in a galaxy far, far away.